Hey guys, it's Florida Aquaman here. I'm down in the Florida Keys and we were getting ready to dive one of the bridges, and I brought Eleanor along and she's actually going to dive the bridge and get her limited lobster, right?
Yes.
Hopefully. Did you bring gloves?
No.
No,
to be fair, I bought some last year. They're in your diving gear and you don't know where they're at.
No gloves for you. So stay tuned, we're going to head out. We got a little bit of a run, so we'll see you guys over there. So we got the boat all anchored and I'm all suited up. I hopped in the water first to make sure Eleanor was good when she hopped in.
That was such a bad idea. I'll take the tank.
You okay?
I'm fine.
So that's why I always like to just fall backwards off the boat, because if you try to go forward, sometimes your tank will catch. So you can see that was a perfect example of it, but she was okay. So I got her on the bottom, got her used to it, made sure she was okay, and we were going to head over to the anchor to make sure it's nice and seated, because I always like checking that when I get on the bottom. But you can see before we got there, there's a lobster in the rock, so we had to tickle him out, see. And you can see this one was on the small side, so we just left him alone. Continued to the anchor and made sure it was nice and set. You can see there's some little fish, colorful fish swimming around. A lot of pretty things under these bridges. So when we got on the bottom, Eleanor got a brand new mask and it was having issues with fogging, so we went up top real quick, took care of it, made it all clear so she could see, because there's nothing worse than a foggy mask. Well, you ripped off your bass as soon as you got up. How is it better?
No, it's getting foggy again.
You gotta spit it. Spit. And then roll it. That's good.
In the water or no?
Now put it on with a little bit of spit in it. So me personally, I like to spit in my mask to help with the fog. They even sell like a no fog spray or something like that. That works pretty good, but I prefer good old-fashioned spit. So you can see we got all situated. Back down the anchor line we go, and we're going to get us some nice lobster here. You can see we had really, really good conditions. We had a nice incoming tide, and the water was blue, you can see. The camera doesn't do it justice sometimes. Sometimes it looks a little better than it is, you can see. Just helping her with her BC, get on the bottom, get situated. Getting her buoyancy right, because with new divers, buoyancy is a huge issue. So we're getting that all squared away. I say new diver, but she's dove this bridge about 4 or 5 times with me, so this isn't her first time. You can see we got a nice lobster underneath the rocks. And I'm just tickling it out, and she's got the net, and we're assisting each other here, catching lobster. So, and if you guys notice, I have a glove on one hand, and she has a glove on one hand, because we only had one set of gloves. So we just kind of had to make it work. And what I'm doing here is I'm showing her that if you take that net and you tilt it and get it behind the tail, that's kind of the best way to catch the lobster. Sometimes if you have that net flat, they won't come out as easily. So you can see we got a really nice lobster. And I was telling her, you need to grab it. It's your lobster, and she wasn't really about it, so for the first one. So I handled them, got them out of the net. You always got to measure them underwater. They got to be 3 inches. That's what that metal gauge measures. 3 inches on the shell. And you can see it's a nice keeper, and I wanted to get a picture with her underwater, kind of. And you can see, nice little lobster there. Can't beat it. Where you're going to stuff him into the bag. I have a specialized lobster bag that's got a flap on it. Now, the ideal way is to do tail first, but sometimes when you have the lobster handled, instead of switching hands, I just try to shove them in the bag. When they start getting really, really big, the lobster, you have to put them in tail first because they won't fit head first. So you can see she's tickling another one out. And same thing with the net. I'm trying to tell her, tilt that net and that lobster will come out a lot easier. Little tricks, little things that make a big difference when you're down lobstering. So you can see, and once you get them in that net, you just kind of fold it over. Some people like to use their tickle stick. You can use your arm, but that just traps them inside the net so you don't have to worry about it. And you can see that's a nice size lobster right there. Getting some more pictures underwater. And you can see, you got to make sure you're holding on to these lobster because when they start kicking their tail, if you don't have a good grip on them, they will rip out. So you guys got to stay tuned because check out, we are going under the bridge and you won't believe all the fish that were under here. I got some more better video towards the end, so definitely stay tuned and keep watching because there was a ton of fish under here. But before we do that, we got to get some of these lobster that are laying in the rocks. We're directly underneath the bridge. You can see how the lighting almost changed. It's kind of a lot dimmer because we're in the shade of the bridge. And you can see as you get closer to the bridge, there's a lot of rumble, rocks, and just things from, you know, the hurricanes moved around over the years, pieces of the bridge. It's pretty cool when you get under there. And a lot of times when you get under these bridges, that's where all the fish like to hang out, so you get a better view of everything. I will say it's a little weary when you first go under because it gets dark and it opens up and your visibility gets a little poor, so you have to be very comfortable to dive these bridges. And you also obviously have to have a slack tide. You cannot go under these bridges when the tide is ripping, so that's what we're doing. We're timing the slack tide. And so I'm just measuring these lobster, and she's assisting me. She's finding more lobster that are underneath the rocks, and she's pointing them out for me. And I'm catching them, she's catching some, and we're just kind of tearing them up. You can see another nice lobster. And all these lobster we're catching were good size for the Keys. I like catching these ones. These are like perfect eating size. When lobsters start getting a lot bigger, like sometimes they get over on the East Coast, like out of West Palm, Sebastian, even up, lobster go all the way up to North Carolina, I've heard. They get really big, and those ones aren't as good to eat. These are about the biggest you want for eating size. Because what happens is they lose their flavor. They almost get like really bland when they start getting big, so... You can see these are some really nice lobster we're getting under this bridge. I mean, check out this one. That's a stud lobster for the Keys right there. So we're directly under the main bridge structure. And you can see Eleanor's just kind of looking under the rock. She found a stick that's kind of helping her with her buoyancy. And you can see that's one of the main bridge pilings behind her, but that is of the new bridge, not the old bridge. The old bridge has more of a curved structure, and that's the original bridge that Henry Flagler built back in the day that went all the way down, I believe, to Key West, and it got knocked down by one of the hurricanes back in the day. So you can see I'm kind of snatching that glove because I started catching the lobster and my hands were starting to get tore up from grabbing them. And you can see I've had those lobster gloves and I only use them for lobstering for only about, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 years, and they are already tore up. It's about time for a new set, so. So I'm using the tickle stick method here. All I'm doing is tap, 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 and getting them to crawl out. Do a quick grab. And then stuffing them in the bag, making sure they're of size. Most of these lobster were nice. I didn't really even have to measure them. They were way over. But I always like double checking just to be safe, yeah. And stuffing them in the bag they go. You can see this lobster, I believe, was the biggest one of the trip. He was really good size. And when they start getting bigger size, they're a little smarter, I will tell you that much. You can see he didn't want to crawl out as easily. And I couldn't really get his tail captured in the net, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get that tail in. And you can see how it's kind of uneven ground, so getting that net flat is very difficult. But I finally got the net behind him. And you can see I got a hold of him, and he's a stud. That's a stud lobster for down in the Keys. Maybe for one of my future videos, we'll, you know, head over to east coast of Florida and catch some of them big old lobster that are out in the Atlantic. Because I'm starting to get the itch to do that after lobstering in the Keys for a little bit. Just getting another nice picture. And you can see in the distance, look at that. Those are Goliath grouper, or some people like to call them Jewfish, as in the old days. They renamed them, but you can see they're kind of hanging around and they're trying to eat my lobster. That's what they're doing. They're looking for a free meal. And this is pretty cool. There was a ton of tarpon under this bridge. And if you guys know anything about tarpon, hammerheads love to eat tarpon. If you guys have seen any of the videos, so there's no doubt that there's a lot of big sharks underneath this bridge just by looking at the tarpon. You can see, here's one that's in the crack. So underneath the bridge, there would just be cracks, and they're almost like perfect lobster size. You can literally just get your hand into them, and the lobster like to sit in them. They love it. So if you find those cracks, you'll definitely find the lobster. And this was pretty cool. Check out all these tarpon that were underneath the bridge. I've never seen this many before. I mean, how cool is that? We swam right up to them. Pretty cool. And some of them were giant. I mean, this video doesn't do it justice. It's like, it's a really cool sight to see all them fish underneath the water. But right underneath the tarpon, there were some really nice lobsters. So I kind of swam right through them and the tarpon moved out of the way. And you can see there's another nice one sitting under these rocks in structure. Just tickling them out. Real easy catch into the net. And we're starting to get a bunch. When we first dove down, I didn't think we were going to get close to our limit because we only caught 2. And it took us a while to get situated and find them. But once we got on them, we were doing pretty well. You can see that bag is starting to get stuffed full. And I will tell you guys, when the current starts switching and you got that bag full of lobster, it gets really, really hard to swim. You can see I picked that up. I didn't know what it was. It was an old fillet knife handle. You can see there's some more Goliath groupers in the distance. You can see, same thing, this is one of those small holes that I was talking about. Sometimes they don't like coming out, so you just reach in there and pull them out. That's about the only time I like to reach in the holes to pull out the lobster. But you guys can see, when you start reaching in that hole and pull them out, a lot of times it'll break their legs or antennas and things like that. So the tide is starting to switch, so we're going to head back to the boat and we're going to show you guys what we got.
You gotta check it out. Look at the rig right there. Huh. Old school.
You need to buy a new bag. There's a bunch of holes in it.
I mean, that's a good problem to have, huh? I don't think that's 12. Was that 11? One short?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, I think, yeah.
Dang, one short. I knew we were close. We had to get out the tide. You sure? 1, 2. They're nice size, though. I mean, look.
But you know, sometimes, because it's been so long since last year I haven't dove, some of them look so big when you're up close and they're not, you know what I mean?
Here, hold that. I mean, look at them. Nice lobster.
Yeah.
Those are nice. Like these ones, they don't get much bigger than that in the Keys. Other places, I like under that bridge. You gotta remember. Ooh, that's warm. Eleanor caught them all.
No, I did not.
She caught. Did you catch 5 or 6?
First time in a year, I think I didn't do too bad. But you know what? It was really cool to see all those fishes, from the tiny ones with all the different colors.
Look, just to show you, that's a keeper. Look, that's your keeper, and he's over 1/4 of an inch. I mean, look, that's a keeper lobster, just to show you the size of that thing. I mean, look at that. It's a lobster and a half right there. You gonna hold them up and get a picture in front of the bridge?
In front of what?
You gonna hold them up and get a picture? Show your people at work. You're like, yeah, I caught the big ones. Come on.
That you're gonna forget to take it off.
Heck no.
This summer?
I just bought another one.
How many have you bought so far?
For this boat, probably 3.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm willing to bet.
Well, the other one broke, like here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because you. Yeah.
I was running.
Oh, my face is a little burnt.
I mean, you see how many tarpon there were? Cool. Did it freak you out how big they were?
At first, yeah.
You see how big they are?
They're
about your
huge.
size, your weight.
Yeah.
Some of them are about 150. Yeah, see, that's a hooker, see? Yeah. So you ain't got to worry about filling tanks.
Me and Eleanor had a blast diving. It was perfect conditions, couldn't beat it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video as much as I had diving it. We got some more cool stuff coming up in the future. If you guys could like, comment, subscribe, hype it up. Let me know what you guys thought. And like always, this is Florida Aquaman, and I'm out till next time.